Hello and welcome to the news on the hour. The major stories. Neither bomb nor bullet, a book written by a seasoned international journalist, Andrew Boyd, on the life journey of the Most Reverend Dr. Benjamin Kwashi is finally out and now available. Trump administration submits a notice of withdrawal from the World Health Organization to the United States Secretary General after blasting the WHO's handling of the coronavirus pandemic and what he called its pro-China bias. Juventus head coach Maurizio Sarri says AC Milan defeated his side 4-2 in the Serie A fixtures because his team only played well in the first 60 minutes of the encounter. And now the stories and details. Christians have been called to live right in their host communities, letting their light shine and avoiding spiritual landmines, as this is the way to step into victory of bringing souls into the kingdom of God. The Bishop of Lokoja Diocese, His Grace, the Most Reverend Emmanuel Ebunu, made the call in his weekly devotion titled Peter's Portrait.
I urge you, don't go overboard. Where you are, just make sure that you do not allow your reaction to overtake your Christian witness. Indeed, the great temptation for young Christians is also that if they don't overreact, some can easily become lackadaisical. That is, they become very passive and accommodate the situation they find themselves. Okay, this is the way it is, let's live like that. Everything goes. Let's just take it. Okay, I mean, after all, I can still be a Christian in my home. No, a Christian is called to be different, to be transformed, not to conform.
While the effect of the global pandemic has affected many activities across the world, with imposition of lockdown still effective in some states in Nigeria, such as Lagos and Ogun, who has not allowed the resumption of worship places. The Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion has held the July edition of the Diocesan Healing and Charismatic Service. The service had only the choristers inside the church auditorium, who led a glorious worship session before the Diocesan Bishop, the Right Reverend Dr. Humphrey Olumakai, led the virtual congregation in a session of prayers and intercession with a host of online worshippers in fellowship.
The word of the Lord comes with healing, curing the incurable. I declare that through Jesus Christ you have been sanctified and made whole by the Spirit, soul, and body in the name of Jesus.
And on a good note, the much awaited and sought after book, Neither Bomb Nor Bullet, written by a seasoned international journalist, Andrew Boyd, on the life journey of the Most Reverend Dr. Benjamin Kwashi is now available. The book was dedicated by Dr. Mrs. Gloria Kwashi, the wife of the bishop. Together, she and her husband have gone through unimaginable pain and suffering for the sake of the gospel. The book, titled Neither Bomb Nor Bullet, is now available in Nigeria via Acts Bookshops and the Diocesan Office in Jos. This book is inspired as neither bomb nor bullet can silence this turbulent priest who courageously continues to speak truth to power. And as the federal government gave directive for reopening of schools for those writing promotional exams, Mr. Ozeloka Zikora has advised that adequate measures should be put in place. He was speaking in an ACNNTV weekly program Christians in Politics on the topic COVID-19 examining decision on school reopening. Against this backdrop, the resumption of schools to enable pupils in graduating classes resume preparation for examination as announced by Chairman of the Presidential Task Force, Boss Mustafa, as Nigerian Medical Association and Nigeria Union of Teachers argued on the move that both teachers and pupils could be put at risk of the COVID-19 that has infected over 25,000 persons in the country.
Government's policies should be dynamic, must be continually reviewed in line with the times that we are facing. And these policies should be made mandatory. So even if you're a private school, if you can't implement such policies, you ship out. We must not joke with the educational system. And of course, there should be a system whereby even our corporate organizations should come in to help to deliver education, especially the e-learning platforms for schools. That could serve as part of their corporate social responsibilities to schools. And government should encourage them by giving them tax breaks when they do such things, so that it can encourage them to continue giving out.
Okay.
The Christian Association of Nigeria, ACNN, has called on authorities in Lagos, Ogun and other states where churches are still on lockdown to permit the resumption of activities in places of worship. ACNN President Reverend Samson Ayokunle made the call in a statement on Tuesday by his special assistant on media and communications, Pastor Adebayo Oladeji. He believes the continued lockdown order on the places of worship in the country is no longer acceptable and cannot be reasonably justified. The ACNN president, however, said with the reopening of the economy, especially the markets, both organized and the unorganized markets, along with a plan to reopen airports and schools, the closure of churches anywhere in the country was no longer tenable and acceptable. According to Ayokunle, it is the opinion of the Christian body that while the government and other relevant stakeholders are working hard to get a cure for COVID-19, the church too has a role to play by seeking divine solutions as well. And meanwhile, the Oyo State chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria has embarked on prayers to end the series of incessant killings and coronavirus that is ravaging the world in the state. It was gathered that there had been incessant killings and attacks in some local government areas in the state. The rate of coronavirus is also increasing in the state. While reacting, ACNN said it has prayed for God's intervention to end the spread of coronavirus, incessant rape, kidnapping, terrorism, herdsmen attacks on innocent farmers and villagers in Nigeria. ACNN chairman in Oyo State, Apostle Shola Joshua, said that the only solution to these problems of killings and coronavirus is to return to God. Akinye, while speaking at a special prayer organized to end the 3-day prayer and fasting declared by the national president of ACNN, said he invited ministers of God from various denominations to participate in the spiritual war against COVID-19 and other social vices. And still to come, the Brazilian Football Federation set August the 9th as the date for the resumption of the national championship. Please stay tuned for details on that and more stories.
As countries begin to push for a return to normalcy following the outbreak of COVID-19, technology giants Google and iPhone have partnered to create a platform to assist public health agencies. The two companies are partnering to create technology that will allow apps built by public health agencies to work more accurately on Android phones and iPhones. This technology will assist in contact tracing. Public health agencies use contact tracing to track who has potentially been exposed to an illness such as COVID-19 as part of their efforts to contain the spread of diseases. The technology they build is not an app, but rather something public health agencies can use in building their own application that people can then install on their phones. Each Android phone or iPhone user gets to decide whether or not to use the exposure notifications. The system does not collect or use location from the device. And if a person is diagnosed with COVID-19, it is up to them whether or not to report that in the public health app. For iPhone users, go to Settings, then click on Privacy. Click on Health, and you will see the COVID-19 exposure login. Similarly, for Android phone users, go to Settings, then scroll to Google, click, and you will see COVID-19 exposure notifications. To activate this function, therefore, an app specifically designed for contact tracing will be required by local health authorities. In other words, this creates a viable opportunity for app developers and relevant health authorities in Nigeria to develop and domesticate a homegrown technological solution in this regard.
Thanks for staying tuned. For more on our top stories, please visit our website at acnntv.com or our social media platforms on facebook.com or youtube.com/ACNNTV. And to be up to date with our news and other programs, download the VM Africa app from Android and iOS stores. Nigeria's federal government has built 2 ultra-modern primary schools furnished with VIP toilets in Rankum, a Plateau native community sacked and taken away by headers, now renamed Mahanga Ado Mamuda Primary School after a renowned Fulani leader. The double 12 classroom blocks facilitated by the Sustainable Development Goals program legitimizes land grab. The building of the school is rather to the displeasure of the local name, the Joel Community Development Association. According to the association, carrying out such project on land grabbed for the benefit of invaders, aggressors, when it's within public knowledge that over 50 villages in Riam and Barkanladi local government areas of Plateau State have been sacked through armed invasions and currently occupied by the attackers, amounts to condonation, applauding, aiding and abating crimes against humanity, thereby legitimizing aggression in the 21st century, which is an outright defiance to relevant statutes that prohibit such conduct. JCDA said in a petition signed by its acting chairman, Mr. Joshua Bashash, and 36 others. The association said the speed at which the construction was done without due consultation raises a lot of suspicion that the fact of this development was railroaded to foist a fait accompli on the local government. They further said that the community is demanding the reversal of the project while they are ready set for commissioning and return of the community, and over 50 others sacked and occupied by headers to the original owners. And meanwhile, a Christian non-governmental organization, the Equa Aid Ministry, has donated food and cash to 90 families affected by herdsmen attacks in Plateau State. The organization's coordinator, Mr. Ezekiel Bala, said that over 50 households from Bassa local government area received cash support to rebuild their destroyed houses in April and May 2020, while 40 other families got cash support for food. The Tier Fund-supported NGO has previously carried out sensitizations in the local government on HIV/AIDS, hepatitis, syphilis, maternal and child health, sex and gender-based violence, family planning, humanitarian, livelihood support and peace building. The international NGO, the official said, focuses on humanitarian and developmental activities being working in Bassa local government, precisely in Irigwe communities for years. A senior administration official says the Trump administration submitted a notice of withdrawal from the World Health Organization to the United Nations Secretary General after President Trump for weeks had blasted the WHO's handling of the coronavirus pandemic and what he called its pro-China bias. According to Senator Bob Menendez, Congress received the notification that POTUS officially withdrew the U.S. from the WHO in the midst of a pandemic. He argued that Trump's response to COVID chaotic and incoherent doesn't do it justice and will not protect American lives or interests, as according to him, leaves Americans sick and America alone. Also, a spokesman for UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres confirmed that the organization received U.S. notice to withdraw. And now to sports story. The Brazilian Football Confederation has set August the 9th as the date for the resumption of the national championship, drawing opposition from regional authorities in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. It says the 20-team second division will resume the day before. Only one state championship in Rio de Janeiro has so far resumed, and that has been beset by coronavirus, as the death toll in Brazil, the second highest in the world, has passed 65,000. The governor of Sao Paulo, Joe Doria, during a press conference stated that teams from the state will not participate in the national tournament until they have finished their regional championship, which has been frozen with 3 rounds to play since mid-March due to the pandemic. Juventus head coach Maurizio Sarri has said that AC Milan defeated his side 4-2 in the Serie A fixtures because his team only played well in the first 60 minutes of the encounter. He also said that there was no point dwelling on their total blackout against AC Milan, adding that Juventus needed to focus on their next game in 3 days. Juventus wasted the opportunity to move 10 points clear at the top of Serie A table as they blew a 2-goal lead to lose 4-2 to AC Milan at San Siro. Adrian Rabiot and Cristiano Ronaldo put the visitors ahead early in the second half, but Sarri's men were then blown away by a brilliant Milan display as Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Frank Kessie, Rafael Leao and Ant Rebic scored for the host. And that is it on the news on the hour. Thanks for watching. I am Rachel Ibun.
Shall get out of your system, your business, your family.